Divine Evolution. I'm Chris O'Connor. I'm so excited to be here with you, and I'm especially excited because this is my very first episode ever, and you're here with me, and I'm so grateful. What is divine evolution, and what does divine evolution mean to me? I was raised very strict fundamentalist Christian, and I understood and believed and connected with a lot of what I was taught. But at the same time, there was so many more truths that somehow were imparted that I brought with me from a past life, or that simply I somehow knew or heard, and it made sense to me. It resonated if I had heard someone else speak something that was contrary to what my teachings were when I was young. So my journey began in finding a way outside of what our society and humanity, for the most part, took as being religion or spirituality. That so many religions actually all have portions and parts that are correct, and they also have portions and parts that are not correct. I had to come to an understanding that first and foremost, what we were given as sentient beings was free will. Free will is of the utmost importance to all living things. So I understood this to be true, but then I began to wonder, if free will is given to all, how can we judge any individual for expressing their free will? How can religion judge those for not following their belief system? How could an individual judge another individual for doing something that is what is considered to be wrong or immoral, and maybe not wrong or immoral to another person? And how can we judge ourselves for doing something that we maybe shouldn't have done, or that we possibly feel guilty for? If we're given free will, how can we possibly be judged? And that even includes God. Do I believe in God? Yes, I believe in God. I don't believe in God as a single male entity sitting upon a throne and making judgment upon all actions done by all beings. That's not the form that I see God. The form of God that I see is a consciousness, is an entity that in the beginning, when all was void and without form, this entity had a thought, and this thought became vibration, and the vibration began vibrating upon its own free will, and then it expanded, and portions of this vibration chose to vibrate in a slightly different frequency, and within these frequencies other frequencies took place, and what became of these vibrations and frequencies was the photon. The first living, what you could consider living being from the original thought, would be the photon. And each photon has the will to vibrate at whatever level it chose to vibrate, and it went from there. There's so much more detail involved in it, but suffice to say for now that I see God as the collective of all things. I am God. You are God. The trees outside are God. The clouds in the air. The gases in the atmosphere. all portions of the universe, all beings within the universe, and all portions of material within the universe are God. And each portion of these materials, having the free will to move and vibrate within its own choosing, creates different conglomerations of energies. And these different conglomerations of energies begin to form different beings and different materials. And these materials come together to form other materials and other beings, and begins to become more and more complex until eventually there are planets and there are beings upon this planet and every other planet. And these beings come together in an intelligent way and have an awareness and a sentience that become you and me. So how is it that I'm any different than you? Or that I'm any different than the trees? Or even any different than fire and wind and water and earth? Because I am no different than any of these things. I'm just simply a different combination of elements. But all the elements are God. So yes, this is a creation by a being that gave its very beingness all it was. It spoke itself into an existence that was the original Big Bang. And in doing so, infinity was created, photons were created, all elements were created, all the way down to you and to me. So I love God. Therefore, I cannot help but love you. Because you are God. I am God. And we are one. And that's part of our journey. All beings, all materials, the journey that all things go through is to return to God. God expanded out in a way for beings to have experience. And the experience goes back to God, to his collective consciousness. So each experience that you have, God is having. Your goodness, your badness, your kindness, your cruelty, your love, your hatred. God experiences every portion of it through you. And that is the purpose of life, because we need to go through enough experience that we can see life and living the way God sees it, and eventually return to him. This small portion conglomeration of material that I am will someday return to God, and that's my journey. And we cannot do that in a single lifetime. It isn't possible. It takes many, many lifetimes and many, many layers, levels, and densities of experience to find our way home to God. And that is why evolution is so important. And that is why reincarnation is essential to become one with the divine. That is my journey. That is your journey. And I would like to take this journey with you. And I ask that you take this journey with me as we all learn to find our way home to the Creator. We are all, and we are one, and we are love, and I love you. Until next time, I'm Chris O'Connor.